Hey everyone, welcome to the stream. If you're new to my channel, my name is Brian Craig. I'm a radio talk show host, podcaster, YouTuber, and the biggest Trump supporter you'll ever meet. You will never hear me disagree or criticize our great president, the greatest president ever, the 45th president of the United States, Donald Trump, who will also be the 47th. That's right. Well, we've got a lot to talk about, no doubt about that. And the Trump rally in Pennsylvania was spectacular, and it was historic in nature because this was President Trump's first rally post the Mar-A-Lago break-in. And listening to President Trump, and I know you guys felt this too, listening to President Trump speak at that rally last night, talking about what his family has gone through as an American is a very upsetting thing. I mean, there's just no getting around it. I mean, that's not the America that we know. That's not the America we grew up in. That's not the America that we learn about if they still have civics in public school. That's not what we learn about in civics. This is a whole nother country, the way it's being run right now, especially after that god-awful, bizarre speech by Biden in front of Independence Hall in Philadelphia a couple nights ago. So this rally last night was it was a great rally. It was a full house, and President Trump talked about what they did when they went into his home. And so it's pretty bad. Look at this. Melania bought a new wardrobe after the FBI, quote-unquote, contaminated her clothes during the Mar-A-Lago raid. I mean, how dare they, right? How dare they? Melania Trump reportedly bought a new wardrobe after the FBI contaminated her clothes when they searched her room as part of last month's raid on Mar-A-Lago. Well, I mean, what is that about? She would not feel comfortable wearing any of the clothes FBI agents touched. No, that was a major violation. Melania doesn't like the idea of strangers rifling through her things. Who knows who touched her underwear during the raid, Trump's friend said. She's never going to feel comfortable wearing those ever again. Shortly after the FBI raided Mar-A-Lago, Donald Trump confirmed reports that the agents searched through Melania's bedroom and closets. My goodness, these people are out of their minds. They're just out of their minds. So they also went through Barron's room, and here's President Trump talking last night at the rally. I mean, look at the number of people there. You know, you got to ask yourself, what do the Bidens and the establishment and the media, what do they think when they see that crowd, not an enthusiastic crowd, but a full house that is only limited by the capacity of the venue? After everything they've done, what do they tell themselves about this? What do you think? It's got to scare them. They don't understand. Why do people still love him? They'll never understand it.
There could be no more vivid example of the very real threats from American freedom than just a few weeks ago. You saw it when we witnessed one of the most shocking abuses of power by any administration in American history. The shameful raid and break-in of my home, Mar-A-Lago, was a travesty of justice that made a mockery of America's laws, traditions, and principles before the entire world. The entire world was watching, and they're shocked. They're shocked. South American countries, numerous of them, their leaders said, could you imagine if that was ever done in our country, what the United States would be saying about us? The Biden administration invaded the home of their chief political opponent, who is absolutely destroying him and everyone else in the polls. I hate to say it.
No doubt about that. It's amazing.
Even including the Republicans, but we love the Republicans. On a phony pretext, getting permission from a highly political magistrate who they handpicked late in the evening, just days before the break-in, and trampled upon my rights and civil liberties as if our country that we love so much were a third world nation. We're like a third world nation.
That's right.
They rifled through the First Lady's closet drawers and everything else.
Wow. Wow. Disgusting.
And even did a deep and ugly search of the room of my 16-year-old son, leaving everything they touched in far different condition than it was when they started. Can you believe it?
Yeah, it's sad, isn't it? I mean, it's really outrageous. You know, later on in the rally, by the way, welcome if you're just joining us. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. And everybody in the chat that's watching live or watching later, make sure you like the video too, if you don't mind. It helps out a lot. That's just not America. That's just not America. And, you know, here we are. How many weeks past the break-in of Mar-A-Lago? We're a month away, 5 weeks. How many weeks has it been? You know, what have they shown that Trump had that was of such national security urgency that they had to break into a home of a president of the United States of America? And you know what? I'd be this upset if it was any one of our presidents. You don't do that. You don't. Could you imagine if Donald Trump in his first term, if his Justice Department had done the exact same thing to the Obamas, the Clintons, even the Carters? What would the outrage have been like? It would have been a meltdown. There would have been an impeachment, and they didn't even get anything. If they would have gone in there and they would have found something that was of such national security urgency and risk, they'd tell us about it. Even if it was classified, we can't give you the details, but we found this thing, and they didn't even do that. They found nothing. And you know what? It was we know what it was. It was a break-in looking for some evidence because they've got nothing. Somehow they convinced themselves that inside the Trump safe there was some document in there that was going to be the document where he ordered everyone into the Capitol and Liz Cheney's kangaroo committee. They'd come in and that'd be the end of it. Got nothing. They went in with a safecracker. A safecracker. And even with everything they've done, for 7 years, can you believe it's been 7 years since President Trump came down the escalator? I've been with him before that. I was supporting him back when Romney won the nomination, in that primary session. Trump was talking about running back then. I wanted him to run back then. And you look at this, the difference in the crowds. Look at this. This is Biden in Pennsylvania the day. A couple people there, mostly press, and then this is last night. This is bigger than a concert, and I'll tell you why it's bigger than a concert. President Trump has been on a U.S. tour for 7 years. Not just filling up the arenas, every single seat, every single time, but thousands upon thousands of people outside. One of his rallies he talked about recently had 89,000 participants. He said that's why he likes to do the rallies in the fields when he can, because they can get more people in there. It's amazing. It's amazing. What musical act could be on tour for 7 years across America, going to the same state, same cities multiple times sometimes, and fill up arenas and have thousands of people outside each and every time, no matter where they went? No one could do it. No one. Bieber, Beatles, no one could do this. Not for 7 years straight. And you know what? He's not done. So this is bigger than any concert tour we've ever known, right? By the way, tell me in the chat, Give me a yes or a no. Have you been to a Trump rally? Yes or no? If you haven't, you really should. It's kind of like a MAGA pilgrimage. Every MAGA person needs to go to at least one. I've been to a whole bunch of them. But yes or no, have you been to a Trump rally? No, Metallic, no one could do this. No one could do this because, when you go to a Trump rally, okay, so those of you that say yes that have been to a Trump rally, it's a task, all right? First off, when you go, and this is why, someone said Metallica. No, this is much different because this is what you don't get. This is what you do not understand. If you've never been to one, okay? Oh, those of you that have never been to one, I'm so sorry. You got to find one and go to it. It's not just, and those that have been know what I'm talking about. When you go to a Trump rally, you do not know for sure if you're going to get in, right? You don't know for sure if you're going to get in. You hope to get in, but you don't know, right? And you got to get there way, way early because you don't have a ticket guaranteeing you a seat if you're in an arena like this. I've been to Trump rallies both outside and in arenas, and they're very different but very similar. Then you've got to, when you get in, if you get in and you get your seat, you've got 12 hours or more before President Trump comes out. And it's tiring, and you're there all day. You don't want to leave your seat because you don't want to lose your seat to someone. I've seen things like that happen to people, and it's a big thing. If you go to an outside rally, oh man, my first Trump rally was outside here in Florida, and it was a hot day. It was a really super hot day, and there were no seats, and the place, we were packed in like this close people were. This close. And we were packed in, and we had to stand in the Florida sun, packed in this tight for 4 to 6 hours before President Trump came in. People, when they go to concerts for musical acts, they don't go through all that. They got their seat guaranteed. They can show up right before. They can leave their seat and wander around all day and never worry about using it or losing it, I should say. So, you go to a Trump rally, by the time President Trump comes out, you don't realize this when you're watching on Right Side or something, what people are going through all day waiting for him to come out. It's tiring. And you guys agree with me that have been, hey, as soon as President Trump comes out, all your worries are gone, your exhaustion disappears. You're like, especially me, because I'm a morning guy. I get up so early in the morning all the time, these rallies at night. But you know what I mean? It just, all your tiredness disappears and you're energized as soon as he comes out. But when you're waiting, it's a real exhausting affair to go to a Trump rally, especially the ones that are outside. In fact, I was watching on Right Side Broadcasting yesterday afternoon. They were interviewing someone that went to, I forget which rally it was. It was a recent rally too, and they said it was all mud. They were in mud all day because it had rained, and they were standing in mud like up to their ankles. You know what I'm talking about. And people still put themselves through it. And some of these people are older people. Some of these people are not the healthiest, and they're out. It's amazing what people do. So no musical act in the history of concert tours comes close to equaling what President Trump does each and every time, by the way, sometimes with very little notice. Sometimes something will happen, and on Monday he'll say, hey, Friday I'm going to be here, Saturday I'm going to be there, and people show up with no notice. No musical act has ever done that. That's not to say that there haven't been humongous concerts, but they're not random like this all the time. No. People don't. Yeah, it's really historic in nature, and it really truly is. I mean, and it's something that we are living through history. I mean, we're really truly living through history. Michael, $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Michael says, Brian, that rally last night gave me 2016 vibes all over again. Biden couldn't fill a high school gym. Did you see the Biden rally? I don't know if we should call that a rally, what Biden had. Maybe a get-together with some friends in the media and White House staff as seat fillers. But there are more people. I think, and this is not a joke. It'll sound like it's funny, but it's true. And what makes it funny is that it is true. There are more people in line for the men's room at a Trump rally than are in complete attendance at some Biden event. And that's the way it is. I mean, that's just, there's no getting around that. Now, this stunt that they pulled the other day. By the way, everyone, please thank Michael for that super chat, by the way. Gateway Pundit, which is just a great news source. One good thing about them is they're spot on. They're hit on all the stories. They're ahead of the game all the time. As the Gateway Pundit reported, FBI doctored Mar-A-Lago photos, added their own docs that didn't match inventory reports. Hey, this is the carpet at Mar-A-Lago. Look at this. Hoft at the Gateway Pundit. Hoft's a good guy. He does a lot of good reporting. As Hoft at the Gateway Pundit reported earlier this week, the FBI created a fake crime scene at Mar-A-Lago by adding their own documents to the scene and doctoring the photo they released in their report to the press. Shocker. As the Gateway Pundit reported earlier, this is against the law. The Department of Justice responded in a lawsuit this week to President Trump's request to a Florida court to review the FBI raid of his iconic property, Mar-A-Lago. In the DOJ's response, the Justice Department included a document they claim was taken from Mar-A-Lago during the raid. The photo was all over the news Wednesday, August 31st, the day after it was provided to the court. This was all a lie. The FBI created the crime scene, inserted their own documents, and then photoshopped the document. That's been confirmed. Now, you'll probably only hear this in the Gateway Pundit and here. You're not going to see this on CNN or probably even Fox. It really shows that they've got absolutely zero anything, or they wouldn't have had to do the crime scene. See, if things were like they said at Mar-A-Lago, they wouldn't have had to create a crime scene. The crime scene would have already existed. What they did was the equivalent as if you got a call for a murder somewhere and there was nothing there. No one had been murdered, but you drew like the line for the body on the carpet and put some blood or some ketchup over there and said, that's the blood. That's it. That's the equivalent of what they did. And like every time they go after President Trump, he's cleared again. And I consider him having been cleared since they haven't come out with anything that shows that he did anything wrong. Now this here, I'm not sure. I don't know if I want to play this audio because it's so vile. But I want to talk about this. Leftist taunt Ashley Babbitt's mother and January 6 prisoners outside of the D.C. Gitmo, saying, quote, "You are an effing dumb B insurrectionist. I know where you live." Look at that threat. Hundreds of J6 defendants are languishing in solitary confinement. Really? Wow. I didn't know they were still doing that. And then these left-wing lunatics come outside and, they like their masks. They don't wear these masks because of COVID protocols. They don't want to show themselves, right? They don't want to show themselves. They're ashamed. And you know what? They should be.
He lives at home with his grandparents, and he goes for food stamps.
She's so pretty when
So, look at that. They're yelling at Ashley Babbitt's parents. There's, one thing, Democrats have a lot of problems. They lack a lot. One of the things that Democrats lack is just decency, right? Just decency. They have no common decency. They have no respect. They have no honor, and they have no sense of unity. That speech that Biden gave the other night, where he said MAGA Republicans are extremists and a threat to this and a threat to that. They're trying to create this divide even among Republicans, right? Like these establishment people in the Republican Party are the good ones, and then, what are these crazy MAGA Republicans? Well, you can call us MAGA Republicans. I'm fine with that. But we are the Republicans, okay? These people that are not with President Trump and not with us in the Republican Party are the rhinos. I call them rats. Republicans against Trump. I think rhino's too mild of a name. It doesn't even mean much to people. Republican in name only. I like rats because it's more descriptive of what they are, Republicans against Trump. And this divide from this speech the other night. That is a historical speech that will be the moment. And I'll tell you, not today, not tomorrow, but when Biden's, wherever he goes to, and the history books are written, that speech that Biden gave will summarize his presidency. And it will go down as a bad moment in presidential history. There's no doubt about it. You know, if you, not taking calls today, by the way, Rome, just so you know, I'm not taking calls today on the stream. I'll take calls on the radio tomorrow. I will be live on the radio tomorrow on Labor Day, and I'll take calls tomorrow on the radio, but not going to take calls today. You just get my rantings and ravings and stylings. What is that? You know, is that what they call them? The comedic stylings, my political stylings here. But that's going to go down as one of the worst moments in presidential history. That speech. And you know, the thing about that speech was something that's never happened before. Going out of the way to it's happened before in other places, but not in America. A president goes out and makes a speech to try to take a group of people, about 80 million Americans, and say they're extremists. That speech reminded me of George W. Bush's speech about Al-Qaeda and the Taliban the night of 9/11 when he went back to the White House that night. I mean, that's that kind of speech. It's not the kind of speech any president has ever given. And not, you know, I was talking about this on the radio at the end of the week. It's not that there's any context that speech would have been good, because it would have always been bad, that speech that Biden gave. But there was not an incident. There wasn't a happening. If he would have made that after an incident, at least there would have been, he would have been wrong, but there would have been something. This was just like, we're losing. They love Trump. We hate him. And it was just random. It was random. And that even made it more bizarre. But, you know, if you go back to the Civil War, to the great President Lincoln, the first Republican president, right? Remember, Republicans formed a party, the Republican Party, an abolitionist party, to free the slaves from the Democrat bondage of the slavery of the South. And if you go back and you read the speeches of Lincoln, Lincoln was always trying to unite the country, even during the darkest days of the Civil War. You know, there's a great biography of Lincoln that is, if you only read one book about President Lincoln, it's called Malice Towards None. I read that book years ago. I have it here. I keep it. It's a great book. And that's Malice Towards None. He was always about uniting, even after the Democrat insurrection began with, it's called the Civil War, but it's the Democrat Party insurrection against the federal government. Lincoln always wanted to bring the American people together during the worst, darkest days of the Civil War. Not this guy, Biden. This guy Biden's going out there trying to cause a divide like we've never seen before. It was disgusting. And, I'll tell you, there's very little. The only people that think that was a good speech, that are out there talking about it as if it was a good thing, are people that are just yes men and apologists like no one else. I mean, there's even on CNN, they're being critical of it. CNN, it's very difficult for them to be critical of it. They tried to cover it up. Remember, they changed the color from red to pink during the live broadcast of the speech to tone it down a little bit. And even they are not, for the most part, saying anything but what a god-awful speech it was. And I'm glad Biden did it, because I don't know if you are, but I'm glad Biden made that speech, because I think people need to know the hate that is inside of them and what they really think about people in this country who disagree with them. Ron Lloyd, $10 super chat. Thanks so much. And he says, good stuff, Brian. Well, thank you, Ron Lloyd. Please thank Ron Lloyd for that super chat, guys. No, I'm very happy he did it. When I first watched it, and I watched it live, at first I was scary. I was a little scared. Were you guys a little scared? I was like, what's going on? That's the kind of thing Stalin would do right before some purge, sending people off to gulags. And, one thing people have to remember about that speech that Biden gave, that wasn't something Biden just did on his own. President Trump thanks you too, Ron Lloyd there. See that? That wasn't something Biden just did on his own. There was a whole process to that. There were probably a couple hundred people involved in just the writing of it. He rehearsed it. They organized it. They had meetings about it. Hundreds of people were involved in the decision, and no one said, well, wait a minute, this sounds like Hitler. This sounds like Stalin or Mussolini or Castro. No one. They said, this is great. They thought the hundreds of people that were involved in that, and including CNN and MSNBC, who knew all that, they thought that was going to be some powerful speech that was going to wake up the American people against Donald Trump and MAGA. They really thought that. They didn't go out there. Hundreds of people were involved. They didn't go out there and have Biden make that speech thinking it was going to backfire. They thought that America would be like, wow. They thought that was like a John F. Kennedy, don't ask what you can do for your country kind of speech. They actually thought that. It didn't take long, though. Within about 25, 30 minutes, even in the liberal media, at first they were defending it and applauding it and all excited. But about 20, 30 minutes later, even the liberal pundits on cable news were like, oh, no, the reaction's not good. The reaction's not good. I thought it was interesting that Fox News didn't carry it, you know. Oh, man. Yeah, I know. It's a good thing. It's a good thing, and be glad that he made it. Because, you and I know what Biden's all about. Right? We know what the Democrats are all about. But not everyone does, because not everyone follows the news and everything like we do. So when things like this happen, people are like waking up, that break into Mar-a-Lago. And if you notice, the powers that be, the never-Trumpers in the Republican Party, the Democrats, the fake news media, they've made two major mistakes PR-wise in this country in the last month, right? The speech we were just talking about. They had they thought they were going to be embraced, the Biden regime, with that speech in Philadelphia. Total rejection and disgust and fear from the American people, or even Biden's walked it back a little bit. And then the break-in of Mar-a-Lago itself, they didn't realize what the blowback of that would be either. So they've had these two high-profile, just total disasters, PR and media-wise, and, they've lost touch with the pulse of the American people. Donald Trump hasn't. You could see last night in the energy in that crowd in Pennsylvania last night. I got to tell you, I was really blown away by Mastriano. He came out there. He went through a list of things, and is he not impressive? He's another Ron DeSantis. We're going to have Mastriano. We're going to have Kerry Lake, and, of course, my great governor here in Ron DeSantis' free Florida, Ron DeSantis. I mean, there's just a powerhouse of people. He's someone that I could see as Trump's running mate too down the road. He just went through. He had, I don't know how many points he made, but he talked about Mastriano, what he was going to do on day one as governor, and it was beautiful stuff. Dr. Oz was a little vague, okay, Dr. Oz, but you got to vote for Dr. Oz if you're in Pennsylvania. We need him, not that skinny leg Shrek Fetterman communist, and last night, President Trump was talking about Fetterman, how he lived off his parents till he was 49 years old, and he was bummed. And I was reading an article this morning, and one of the liberal rags, can't remember which one, it might have been Mediaite, but they're so stupid. They were talking about, well, President Trump, he said Fetterman lived off his parents till he was 49, and Donald Trump, he started his business by borrowing from his dad. Well, President Trump borrowed $1 million to go on his own and turned it into $10 billion and, of course, everything else that he's gotten. But he did something that Fetterman didn't do. He paid back his dad. Fetterman didn't pay back his parents, okay? And by the way, he didn't stop living off his parents at the age of 49. He moved into a house that was owned by his sister, and they were still giving him money. That's when he became mayor. And he wasn't making enough money for mayor. So this guy, he's another bum, Fetterman, and he didn't pay back his parents. So there is no comparison to Donald Trump borrowing money from his dad that he paid back, and Fetterman just being a loser bum. Who I liked what did you hear President Trump's description of Fetterman's dressing with the hoodie and the shorts? And he said they're dirty. His clothes are dirty. I guess he's gotten some reports of that. And he said President Trump said that Fetterman dresses like he's smoking weed in the parents' basement. Is that what he said? I thought that was pretty good. That was pretty smart. But you know, President Trump is always good. Now, over here on MSNBC, Tiffany Cross, and it's hard to find a picture of her where she's not looking pissed off. This woman is such a racist. I mean, she is just such a racist. MSNBC's Tiffany Cross says, civil war with Trump supporters has already begun. Let's see. Do we have to listen to an ad first? Let me mute that till we get past the ad. Hold on a second here. Okay, now we can skip it. Okay, let's go. Oh, no, I lost it again. Hold on, I'll get it for you guys. Give me a second. As if we need to hear her, right? Like we need to hear Tiffany Cross.
I'm Tiffany Cross. And these days, it feels like we are not just at the brink of a civil war, but that one has already begun.
And if they try to prosecute President Trump for mishandling classified information after Hillary Clinton set up a server in her basement, they literally will be riots in the street. I worry about our country.
They've turned into the American Gestapo. MAGA is a direct threat to the, wait for it, the American state. You said this quiet part out loud. We are a threat to the American state.
So Trump supporters are already speaking the language of violence. They're threatening.
Okay. Now, Lindsey Graham is an idiot, and I think most of you guys will agree with me. He's not MAGA, so I don't care what he says. But what, that's just the way it is. And he started this thing. You know, he's always working for the other side. And Bannon's right. What he means is the MAGA movement, although Bannon calls it MAGA. Do you guys say MAGA or MAGA? I say MAGA. I say MAGA, not MAGA, but, you know, Bannon. Whatever. I love Bannon. What does Trump call him? Sloppy Steve Bannon. I like Steve Bannon. He's awesome. But we are a threat to their power structure because they think we are here to serve them. Those that work and live in D.C.
The FBI, the DOJ, the state itself, and this is all as they defend their dear leader. Now, it's more than just threats, though. Their rhetoric has already led to actual violence, and there is likely more to come. And I don't need to remind you how the MAGA mob sacked the Capitol on January 6th in an effort to overturn the 2020.
Okay, sacked the Capitol. They went in, they walked out. And, you know, I know. Isn't this something? And, you know, this is just a reality with the left, okay? We're going to be hearing about January 6th for the rest of our lives. Dino, $5 super chat. Thank you so much. You must be the hardest working guy in broadcasting. Great show. Thank you, Dino. Yeah, I know those guys that work hard, but I'm always doing something. By the way, I hope you guys caught my MAGA Halloween video I uploaded yesterday. I went out and made a Halloween video. But, you know, January 6th, I told you guys the day after. January 6th is something that they are going to use against us for the rest of all of our lives. No matter how old or young you are, if you're out there involved in news and politics like we are today, and it's 50 years from now, you're going to be hearing them reference January 6th. That's just the way that it's going to be. And all the violence that has been deadly and destroyed people's businesses, which January 6th did none of that. Okay? That's just ignored. So this is just something we're going to have to get used to. And all this talk of civil war, the only people I hear talking about civil war are the Democrats. You know, it's very important as MAGA Republicans, which I like that. They give us these great names, deplorables, MAGA Republicans, whatever they want to call us. I'll own all of it. What about you guys? Ultra MAGA? That one didn't work. This PR firm that comes up with all these new slogans to describe us that the Bidens are paying. I wonder how much they pay for this stuff. It's important to continue to spread the message of be cool, be peaceful, like Martin Luther King. Right? Don't let them define us. Don't let them trigger you. They think we can be triggered because they're so easily triggered. But the Civil War talk is from them, not us. And they'll never, never let it go. Now, this is unreal. So now, they're not only going after Donald Trump, but the movers. Watch this.
We don't know fully how all these documents got down to Mar-A-Lago. You know, were some stored there when he was president, were they all shipped in the boxes? But is there any potential criminal liability for anyone helping ship documents down there?
Okay, so now this is a serious interview. You're going to hear from Glenn Kushner next. He's a legal analyst from MSNBC. So he was just asked by this host, this liberal jerk host. I never heard of him before, but he's got to be a liberal jerk to be talking this way. They want to go after the movers now, the people that were involved in moving Trump's items to Mar-A-Lago from D.C. since they were packing, moving, and shipping these classified documents. They want to go after them now. Listen.
There that are marked classified?
Yeah, everybody who collected them up, who, got them out of the skiff where they belonged or out of, secured storage where they were held, anybody who knowingly participated in stealing them from the government, taking them from the White House, and then unlawfully concealing them at Mar-a-Lago, all of those people are potentially on the hook. They will
on the hook. What will they potentially do?
Have criminal exposure. Whether they're
they have criminal exposure. The movers. That's right, the movers. These people. You know what that's about, that discussion? They got nothing on Trump or anyone from the Trump family or the Trump organization. So they're going after lower level people, whoever's involved in the packing of the boxes, that don't have fancy law firms working for them and everything, to try to scare them into saying something. That's how they try to get lower level people. They call it flipping, but they go to them and they threaten them with something so that they'll say, yes, they told us to put these classified documents in the box and tape them up and put them in the car and in the truck and on the plane, and they did it. That's what they're doing. And so they've already moved on from the Trump family. But, the Democrats, Biden's in big trouble. And I give an example. This is an exchange between Jean-Pierre and a CNN White House reporter.
Hey, Grant. The president last night argued very forcefully that democracy is under assault. But what kind of concrete actions does he actually plan to take, given that he described this essentially as a fairly existential threat to the American Republic?
So, as you also heard from the president yesterday, he believes we're at an inflection point.
Okay, so this is interesting. So Biden, who had the red light, this is not why I played this, but I realized this as I'm looking at this Jean-Pierre. She's the dumbest person ever to be a press secretary of anybody, I got to tell you. But here she is wearing red. Right, this is the day after Biden did the speech from hell in front of with the red lights behind him on Independence Hall, and here she is looking as if she is one of the minions of Satan himself. The next day, wearing red. Oh my goodness! Do they want to look like the devil and his minions or what?
Hey, Grant. The president last night argued very forcefully that democracy is under assault, but what kind of concrete actions does he actually plan to take, given that he described this essentially as a fairly existential threat to the American Republic?
So, as you also heard from the president yesterday, he believes we're at an inflection point. And so that's an important thing, why he wanted to make sure he gave that speech. But you also heard the president express optimism, right, about the future of America, which was something that was important for him to deliver to the American people, that he believes there isn't nothing we can't do, right? He believes that we can do anything as a country. Yes. And we have seen throughout our history, America has made its greatest progress out of the darkest times. We see that before. One way, of course, we can do that is by making our voices heard. And he said that. He said that the American people have a choice. But it wasn't just a policy speech. Obviously, the president believes that we can make great progress.
Okay, blah, blah, blah. The reason I play this, though, is not because she's dressed in Satan-like colors, but that was a question asked by CNN. And this is the morning after the speech in front of Independence Hall. So, I have read because I'm MAGA. They hate us, But, and I don't have Marines behind me. No. And I'm not talking about rounding millions of people up because I don't agree with them. But CNN, the morning after the speech, asking tough questions in the press briefing, that is not what they thought would happen. Or they wouldn't have done it. What they thought was going to happen is that CNN the next day would be praising them for the quick action and thoughts that Biden spread out there. Now, I know there's some trolls in the chat. That's cool. Let them. Let these Democrats hear the truth. Democrats that watch my videos, this may be the only time they have an opportunity to hear what MAGA Republicans really think, as opposed to what they describe us as in these terrible stereotypes that they are always throwing out there. So no, it's fine. It's fine. Oh my goodness. This is another one. This is someone we have courtesy of Glenn Beck. Glenn Beck introduced to the world SE Cup. And this is Christine Amanpour's show. This is a fill-in host, but SE Cup says it's courageous that Biden correctly calls GOP semi-fascist.
Now, we certainly didn't hear McCarthy saying anything like that for some of the comments that Donald Trump has made. But is he correct that he...
By the way, I want to take... When you get a little more dressed up, if you're going to be on national TV, maybe she figures, no one's watching. It's PBS, I guess.
That when Biden used this language, that he basically accused all Republicans with a similar brush, or did you think that he actually hit the right tone?
I think he correctly identified a strain within MAGA world. I mean, there are very few words.
Wait a minute. Does that look like Al Gore? Is that Al Gore? Does SE Cup have a picture of Al Gore playing ball in the backyard, or is that her husband? Who is that? Does that look like Al Gore to you? I don't know, it just does. But anyway, let me finish it.
I think he correctly identified a strain within MAGA world. I mean, there are very few words to describe what Republicans are doing. Like I mentioned, book bans, having...
Wait a minute. What books are being banned by Republicans? Can someone tell me what the hell she's talking about? Book bans? What books are being banned by Republicans?
Students turn in teachers for wokeism. I mean, really chilling stuff you see in fascist countries.
Let me put
Republicans have adopted. So there's no real other way to say it. And I think Biden was very careful in his speech yesterday to specify who he was talking about and say it's not all Republicans, it's not all Trump supporters. Look, you and I know Republicans, Sarah. We know Trump supporters. They're not all attached to this version of Trumpism. But
we're not all attached to this. What version of Trumpism are we attached to, and what other versions of Trumpism are there? What is she talking
party's
about?
Going in a very bad place, and more candidates that are running all across the country for really important positions like secretaries of state and attorneys general want to do some really dangerous things. So.
Oh, really? What dangerous things? No, someone in the chat said Ron DeSantis is banning books. No, that is a media lie. Where that story comes from is the State Board of Education, every year, book publishers come to them to sell them books for the public schools. And they didn't buy some books. That's not banning of books. If I go to the bookstore today, if I can find one, right? There's a Barnes & Noble a few miles away. If I go to Barnes & Noble and I don't buy a book, am I banning books? No, I just didn't buy books. That's what happened in Florida. They didn't buy books from one publisher about critical race theory for the public schools. That's not the same as banning books.
Listen, I think he was going to get blamed for, and take some heat for using correct words to describe what's happening. But he was, I think, courageous to do so.
Okay. Yeah, by the way, Newsbusters is also a great news resource online, newsbusters.org. Glenn Beck discovered her, put her on the blaze for a long time. I've never liked SE Cup because she's an atheist. I don't like atheists. Atheists creep me out. So I've never been a fan of hers because of that. But I saw someone in the chat say, oh, she's conservative. She just wants to keep her job. No, her husband, if I remember correctly, is in Congress. Isn't her husband a member of Congress? She could use those connections to get over on Fox News or Newsmax or anywhere else. She wants to be on CNN because those are her friends. She's a useful, collaborating idiot, okay? She's over there because they want to be able to say that they have all sides on, So they put her on there and say that S.E. Cupp's a Republican. She's no Republican. She's no Republican, no matter what she says. Now, I made the announcement last week that our cruise is a go in January, the Steve Kane 2023 MAGA cruise. We leave January 28th. This is our cruise ship that we're going on, the Celebrity Apex. And remember, vaccine mandates have been lifted, so you don't have to be vaccinated to cruise in America. We leave out of Fort Lauderdale for 7 nights, and on that ship, the Celebrity Apex, we go to San Juan, Puerto Rico, Tortola, and the British Virgin Islands, and St. Kitts on board the Celebrity Apex, January 28th. And here's our route. Fort Lauderdale, San Juan, Puerto Rico, which is my favorite place in the Caribbean, the British Virgin Islands, and St. Kitts. And we're just going to have a great time. And this is you're all welcome to join us. There are some humongous discounts for those that are traveling single, alone. But you won't be alone. You're going to be in our group. And I'll show you this video of the ship while I'm talking. You're all invited to join us. We have dinner together every night. We have onboard activities. That is our ship that we are going on, the Celebrity Apex. The price varies depending on what cabin you choose. I'm going to give you the number for Ian at Cruise and Travel Depot. He will give you the price based on what cabin you choose. But we have the best price of anybody else on board the ship because we booked our group cruise at the height of COVID when cruising wasn't even going on because it was shut down because of COVID. So we got very, very good prices. And when you go with us, whatever cabin you choose, however big, however small, you will be paying less than anyone else on the ship. I'll give you Ian's number at Cruise and Travel Depot. You can call now. If he doesn't answer, leave a message. He will call you back. 561-244-5779. 561-244-5779. Not only do we have dinner together every night, the food is spectacular, as you can see. We are going to eat in a different restaurant every night of the cruise. So they have every restaurant has a different style of food. There's a steakhouse. There's an American steakhouse. There's an Italian restaurant. There's a French restaurant. So we're gonna eat in a different restaurant every night. What are some of the other things we got going? Well, we got shore excursions that we're planning. We got some really good ones we're planning. So let me fast forward a little bit and show you some of the other. Let me see here. Let's see some of the rest of the ship. Okay, here's the restaurants. Here we go. So yeah, I mean this is going to be amazing. It's a different restaurant every night. You can see it is upscale. It's a brand new ship, and oh man, it's going to be a great time. The wine cellar there in the restaurant, and I've not been on this ship before. I did take a tour of its sister ship, the Celebrity Edge. I mean, look at that. Is that beautiful? Yeah, and of course, we get in our restaurants, we get the sea views with the windows, so we have great seats. Oh, it is amazing. Yeah, Tuscan, that's another one of the restaurants that we'll be in. And it's very, usually you're in the same restaurant every night on a cruise ship, but we got a deal where we can eat in a different restaurant each and every night. And like I say, everyone has different drinks are included, which is great. And they have the brand new internet. They have that Elon Musk. What is that new Elon Musk internet with the satellites? They actually have that internet system. I've forgotten what it's called. It's not Skynet. That's Terminator. But you know what I'm talking about? The Elon Musk internet thing. They have that on the ship. So it has the fastest internet you could possibly have. And let me see. I'll show you some more things. Oh, yes. This is... that drink's included, right? When you go in, this is one of the nightclubs. We have cocktail parties. It's just going to be a great time. Isn't that beautiful? That is the Martini Bar, where we have a special party scheduled right at that bar right here. We're going to have a party here with our group. Isn't that awesome? This is awesome. This magic carpet goes up and down the whole ship. And we'll be hanging out here. We'll have an event there. You see, this is that orange. It hangs on the outside. You can find these videos online if you go. Let me see what else I can show. I know it's beautiful. This video is 12 minutes long, so I'm fast forwarding. Yeah, we got a private cocktail party in this lounge. here we're going to do. And, there's all kinds of things to do. Just, it's Broadway shows. We're going to do all that together. So call Ian at Cruise and Travel Depot and join us. Like I said, the ships are filling up, by the way. I mean, there's no getting around it. I mean, because since they lifted the vaccine mandate requirements for cruising, our sail-away party out of Fort Lauderdale is going to be on the highest deck on the ship outside. Call Ian at Cruise and Travel Depot, 561-244-5779. Call him right now. Like I say, if he doesn't answer, leave a message. He'll call you back. 561-244-5779. You're going to have a great time. I love it. And we've been doing these cruises now for a few years, and I just love them. They're great vacations. So if you're just joining us, at the beginning of the feed, I went through some clips from President Trump at the rally, so you can catch that, including him talking about what they did to Barron's room in Melania's closet. But I wanted to talk just briefly about a crime story that's been in the news. And they got the guy, but about this missing Tennessee teacher who is a billionaire's inheritor, right? Her dad's a billionaire or something, that she was abducted while jogging. Have you seen this? Police charged a 38-year-old man in the abduction of Tennessee school teacher Eliza Fletcher, a billionaire's granddaughter, who's been missing since she went jogging on Friday. This is the guy's name, Cleatha Abston. That sounds like a lady's name, but was charged Sunday with aggravated kidnapping, tampering with evidence, and the 34-year-old wife and mother was jogging Friday morning. Here's the thing. When these stories happen, I talk about them sometimes because these stories are sickening. But women should not be jogging alone, ever. When I go to the radio station in the morning, I'm on the road, it's usually about 5 a.m., and there's a lot of joggers that are out at 5 a.m. My whole route to the radio station from my house, there's joggers. And because joggers like to jog before work, and they like to jog early in the morning because it's cool out, right? It's hot time of year, especially here in Florida, but it's hot everywhere this time of year. So they go early in the morning when it's cool and all of that stuff. And one thing about joggers, I see joggers, the same joggers every day, no matter what neighborhood I'm going to. I see the same joggers because they all have a pattern. And women should not be jogging without a man. That's it. Should not be jogging without a man. And, what happens with these, I was talking to my wife, Kathy, about this last night. Now this may be a little different because she's the granddaughter of a billionaire. There might be some other factor going on, or maybe it's a coincidence. Who knows? But joggers, they get stalked. They get stalked by these creepy, murderous, rapist monsters, and they're alone. They go and grab them. And when you look, this fits into some other things too. Women should not jog without a man around. I'm not talking about two women without a man, because these are women that are in peak physical condition, right? They jog, they work out. They cannot be in better shape for a woman than they're in. And these overweight guys that live off of potato chips and Oreo cookies are able to kidnap them off the street, because no matter how great of shape a woman is in, she cannot overpower a man who's some fat slob living off Oreo cookies and Lay's potato chips, who's never done more exercising than walking to the refrigerator, because men are stronger than women. So it's just, you guys out there, do not let your wives and daughters and girlfriends jog alone, all right? I mean, that's just, I can't talk about that enough. It's upsetting when you think about it. And I'm sure there's so much regret, with husbands and everything. They're like, I shouldn't have let her go by myself. I wasn't feeling like going that morning, and I let her go by myself. Can't let it happen. Can't. Now, this week's a big week because the movie My Son Hunter is released. I cannot wait for it. I'm very excited. Look at this. Newsweek. My Son Hunter gets standing ovation at secret Hollywood screening. Now, this is the guy that plays Joe, and I cannot remember his name, but back in the 80s, he was like the main young guy on Dynasty. His name's John something, because I read an article with him the other day. Remember Dynasty? He was like the main guy on Dynasty. And now here he is playing Joe Biden. A secret invitation-only screening of My Son Hunter took place this week in L.A. with a group of Hollywood conservatives. Oh, that must have been a small group. Hollywood conservatives, 3 people. With a group of Hollywood conservatives, producers, and influencers standing to their feet and applauding during an early look at the upcoming movie, which is now available for pre-order and will be available for streaming and download on September 7th. I can't wait for that one. 3 days until it comes out. A crowd of around 70 people gathered Wednesday at a private screening room without the pomp usually reserved for premieres. Yeah, they were probably wearing masks too, like COVID masks. I'd go in. If you're a Hollywood conservative and you get spotted on the red carpet for My Son Hunter, you'll never work again. So, that's the way it is. No red carpet, no photographers, no line of celebrity reporters. Attendees gave the movie a standing ovation, praised the producers. While most who attended preferred to remain unnamed, Hollywood they're so tolerant in Hollywood. If they know you went to the movie and liked it, you're blacklisted. But they think they made how many movies have they made about the blacklisted in Hollywood? But they still have a blacklist. And I can't wait. There's the guy that plays Hunter. Now this guy's familiar too, isn't he? Yeah. Well, Dean Cain was there. Oh, that's probably the first premiere Dean Cain has been at. Here's Gina Carano. She plays a lady Secret Service agent. Does this guy not look like Biden or what? Yeah. My Son Hunter, a Robert Davi film. I'm definitely going to be seeing that one. Oh, man. You guys, is everyone going to watch it? Now, listen, guys, I hope you all are having a great weekend. I'm going to take off, but thanks for watching. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe. And everyone, before you go, please like the video, all right? And Steve Kane and I will be live on the radio Monday morning tomorrow, Labor Day. We'll talk about the Trump rally and everything that's going on in the news this week, because there's a lot more than I've just scratched the surface here. But we'll be talking about a lot of these things from the rally on the radio tomorrow morning, live taking your calls, okay? So make sure you're up early. Get that notification bell going, too, on my channel, so you get the notification when I go live tomorrow morning. I could have taken tomorrow off. I really could have, but no, we're working tomorrow because this rally, we got to talk about the rally. Hey, guys, thanks for